Yo, what is up, guys? So, I was going through comments, and there's actually a very smart idea thrown out. Paddy, the baddie, versus Michael Chandler, because right now Michael Chandler's in denial right now. He's in dire straits. And you know what? I say this as a Michael Chandler fan, someone who wants to root for him. This has all been kind of self-inflicted at this point. He should have known that the Conor McGregor fights wasn't going to happen. I applaud him for going against Charles Oliveira a second time. But now that, he's like saying that Oliveira just stalled the whole fight and, the ref didn't stop the fight when it was clearly over in the fifth round. It's just hard because, like I said before, part of Michael Chandler's shtick, that win or lose, he just kind of had this self-awareness to himself. And even when he was like a win some, lose some guy, now he's losing way more than he's winning. He was in this position where he just like kind of justified it, like, yeah, I'm here to make entertaining fights. I'm not here for a good time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. And he was giving us a good time. So it kind of seemed like his expectations were kind of lining up with reality, despite there kind of being a built-in excuse, of being very entertaining. And even with like zero fight IQ, he did very well in his fights, especially Dustin Poirier. He gave a lot of problems. Him and Justin Gaethje, that first round, it felt like that was going to set the pace. But if he was smarter, I feel like he could have beaten Gaethje or Dustin Poirier or any of those guys, really. But now time is passing by because of that 2-year break waiting for the Conor McGregor, fight to happen. And he has wasted so much time on that, and I give him credit because he did do the Ultimate Fighter and toughed it out and was definitely the better coach. So I would have loved to have seen him versus Conor McGregor as much as he would have, because he would have gotten a massive payday. But, I think he's not seeing all the things he could be bragging about in his career, and it's getting worse. And the fact that he's, criticizing Oliveira and trying to find reasons to excuse it just seems like such a far cry from the Michael Chandler who burst onto the UFC fully mature, ready to have an industrious career. And, now it looks like he's hoping for the Conor McGregor fight. But what's he going to do? Wait another 2 years while Conor McGregor is waiting for his redemption arc? Because Conor McGregor, although he absolutely played Michael Chandler, he's dealing with his own comeuppance right now at the moment, whether you agree with the decision in the court or not. He's going through a lot of stuff where the public has just kind of had enough. I think it's far beyond a court case. It's just people are just kind of done with Conor at this point. But, he's got his own battle to face, and he's just going to be waiting on the sidelines. But, ironically, who right now would be smarter for him to fight while he's still got a little bit of tread left in the tires? Paddy Pimblett. He needs to forget Conor. He needs to forget this payday, because if he can't realize the mistake he made and he's going all the way back to square one, it's going to look even worse. And the extreme ownership thing is way out the window. Like I said, denial. And if Paddy the baddie and him were to fight now, I still say he has a puncher's chance, Because when you go back and you watch that second Oliveira fight, it kind of looks like Oliveira was able to really wrestle Michael Chandler because Michael Chandler was getting older. He's just getting to that, range and age where a fighter's not the same anymore. So what's he going to do? I hate to say it, but it's just like the more he goes on, it's going to be easier to take a former NCAA All-American guy down, because you look at that first Oliveira fight, it didn't even seem close remotely that was going to be the case. Oliveira weathered a storm and came back and got a really good shot and capitalized on it in the second round. That's what I saw. In this one, it was total domination from Oliveira in every single aspect, in the grappler's realm, in the striker's realm. It looked like that 2 years off. And if you were to add, let's say another 2 years off, and then he says, okay, I'll fight Paddy the Baddie Pimblett. Paddy's going to be so seasoned because he's probably going to have some more names under his resume. He's looking at Renato Moicano, Beneil Dariush, Benoit Saint-Denis, where he could lose those fights potentially. But if you don't think that Paddy the Baddie has grown, I know that it's very popular to hate Paddy, He's become a very controversial figure, but that's why he's kind of a draw, as a lot of people still tune in because they want to see him lose. It's just the strategy. Paddy's taking it from the Conor McGregor book, and he's actually doing really well with it. Whether you like him or not, you got to admit, he knows how to sell himself, and he has gotten better, especially with that Bobby Green show up, right? That was not something I was expecting from Paddy, and I'm only expecting more growth from him. Now that he's not ballooning up to 200 plus pounds in cutting weight, he seems like he's taking his fight career more and more serious, and that's only going to add up and potentially add star power and skill. So to take all that into what I'm saying into consideration, 2 years later, you're going to have Michael Chandler even slower and, not as powerful as usual when he is a powerhouse of a striker. That's his main attribute, that's just going down slowly but surely. Meanwhile, Paddy's going to have better submissions. He's going to have better striking. And let's say 2 years from now, in 2026, Paddy the Baddy could definitely beat Michael Chandler and make it look easy. Right now, Michael Chandler can step in there with Paddy the Baddy and still have a chance to get his hand raised, move on, and say, you know what, I've won some, I've lost some, I'm done with this fight career, I'm very grateful for what I've got, I'm going back to my family, I got the brand deals, got all this stuff. He's forgetting the gratitude, he's forgetting the ownership, he's forgetting all these things that he has preached on social media that has been very inspirational to a lot of his fan base, and now he's losing favor with the UFC fan base altogether. And I say this as someone in Michael Chandler's corner who wants to see the best outcome. Because if you don't think he has shown dedication trying to uphold his end of the Conor McGregor deal, yeah, no, he has. And I think that's why he wants to keep holding out for this. But dude, we got to understand that Conor is playing the petty route. And you can't keep expecting Conor's heart to grow 3 sizes and go, you know what, I'm going to fight Michael Chandler, I just don't even think that's happening. Even if he wants to make a comeback fight and redeem his legacy right now, I still don't see it going down that way. Maybe Conor would probably pick on Tony Ferguson. I'm going to be real there. But I really just don't think that he's going to want to fight Michael Chandler because I think he gets too much of a jolly out of torturing Michael like this. And until Michael realizes that, there comes a certain time where you got to stop feeling so sorry for him and say, okay, man, fool him once, shame on him. Fool him twice, shame on Chandler, Or let me word that. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If he falls for the same trick again, I'm not really going to be feeling sorry for him when Paddy the Baddy's submitting him, And if you think that that's not a possibility in the near distant future, if he continues to kick this can down the road, if that fight were to happen, I'm going to be honest and say, look, I know it's a bit of a reach and a lot of things have to fall in place for that matchup to remotely take place. But let's say it does. It's better for Michael Chandler to get it done sooner rather than later. Later is just going to be bad, and it just seems like an easy way into the top 10 for Paddy Pimblett. But that's what I got to say, and it is a very plausible fight. But you know what? That's the thing about the UFC. We never know where they're going to go with this. I mean, I really think Paddy and Renato Moicano is the fight to make right now at lightweight because that's a toss-up even then because Renato's been on a tear, and then maybe the winner should look at fighting Michael Chandler. That would be pretty cool. But other than that, I really think that Michael Chandler needs to do what could potentially be his last fight within the next year or two, or else his career is going to take an even sadder turn, and we're going to see a dark chapter following up and being a concluding, chapter to what seems like a very inspirational story of picking yourself back up and continuing to give better, performances. But that's what I got to say. Peace out. See you on the next one. Later.